Hey everybody, Dan Lucas from Credo here, and we're on day 5 of the 50 states in 50 days. And today we are doing Connecticut, which was the fifth state to be admitted to the Union. And it was admitted to the Union on January 9th, 1788, a mere week after Georgia was admitted to the Union. And let's see. Connecticut has a lot of just kind of typical credits. A lot of them kind of follow the federal credits as well. So a lot of double dipping here going on if you're Connecticut residents or if you pay taxes in Connecticut. So I'm just going to go through the more major ones, and then I'm going to do some comments on some of the more niche kind of areas, but not really go deep into it. Okay. So all right, as Matthew McConaughey would say. Let's talk about R&D credits first. So Connecticut does have an R&D credit, research and development, same as a lot of other states, same as federal. You're going to see that a lot of states have this credit, and quite frankly, a lot of companies are missing this credit on both the federal and a state side. Not all states have it, of course. Connecticut does. So if you're in Connecticut, it could be double dipping, it could be doubling down on this credit if you can get it for federal, because you also get it for state. Sometimes the state credit can be just as valuable as the federal credit. Okay, so just because it's a state doesn't mean it's going to be less or play second fiddle to the federal credit. So a lot of times it's double dipping. Okay, so if you're familiar with the concept of doubling down in Vegas, this is very similar to that. Let's see. So angel investor tax credit. Again, this is not as maybe typical or as common as the R&D credit, but it's been around for about 10 years now, maybe, give or take. And I don't know, I think it's pretty cool credit. In Connecticut, you can get one by investing at least $25,000 in a qualifying startup. What's a qualifying startup? Well, that's the fine print. So you're going to have to look into that to see what that is on kind of a case-by-case basis. Qualifying startup in one state may not be the same as a qualifying startup in another state. Okay, of course. Next one is a digital animation production company tax credit. Okay, doing any digital animation, looks like you can apply for 10 to 30% tax credit for your production costs if you're in Connecticut. I believe what that means is 10 to 30% of the actual cost that you've spent, you can qualify for a tax credit of that amount. So if you spend 100 grand, it's gonna be somewhere between 10,000 and 30,000 of a tax credit. That's a big range, I know, but you can go through a lot of calculations and kind of see what you might be able to get. Again, if you're doing anything in digital animation, again, could be advertisements, et cetera. You don't have to necessarily be in the production business. You might want to look at that. Digital media and motion picture tax credit. This is a little different because this is for tax credits, and this is up to 30%, so kind of similar to the last one, the digital animation. But this is for production and post-production expenses. For producing an actual end product. Okay, so a little different, but it's also one of them is very specific to digital animation. This one is not specific to digital animation. So this one could be just like you would traditionally see in production, Hollywood, that kind of stuff. Remember, commercials, things like that could potentially qualify. And again, spend 100 grand on it, 50 grand on it, take 30% of that. That's a potential credit you might be able to get. You've got the film infrastructure tax credit. That's one that is available for projects that build facilities and other structures for production in Connecticut. I don't know. I mean, if you are contracted to build something that is a facility for film production or things of that nature, something to look at. Or if you own your own building or real estate, you might be able to carve out a piece of that and get a film credit in that. We've actually done some of that in Georgia, so it depends on the fine print in Connecticut, but you might be able to use some of that real estate or some of that space and get a credit for some of your expense on that if you're using it for any kind of filming and production or digital content. All right, next one is definitely kind of a unique one. It's the insurance reinvestment tax credit, and it is basically ensures you would invest with like approved fund managers, which would be on a certain list put out by the state of Connecticut. You can get 100% insurance premium tax credit. So what I believe that to be is if you're an insurance company. So first of all, if you're an insurance company, something you got to look at. If you're not, Don't even pay attention to this. You can there are certain taxes or ad valorem taxes. Trying to think if that's the right term. Anyway, there are taxes that they could put on top of these insurance premiums that you are generating or filtering through your company, and you can get that eliminated and get a full credit for that by picking a certain approved fund manager. So if you're in the insurance business, something to look at. If you're not, probably just ignore it. A couple other things. So those are kind of some of the simple ones. A couple other things that are sort of a little bit deeper is they do have some job tax credits, right? So if you are investing in hiring people, you should be looking at this for federal anyway. If you're not, you need to be looking at that. But they do have some piggyback credits in Connecticut that are related to hiring people, keeping jobs, building business in Connecticut, hiring people in Connecticut, keeping people in Connecticut, that type of thing. There are some special credits related to plastics and plastic-related companies. So if you're in the business of manufacturing plastics or in the distribution of plastics, you're going to want to look at some of these credits in Connecticut. So there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of specifics on it. But again, if it applies to you, you want to look at it. If it doesn't, obviously you can just ignore it. Let's see. Oh, there are certain credits for donation of land, and the credits aren't necessarily something where you're going to hit a home run on the tax credits versus what you might donate, but they have a donation of land program where you can donate more for like recreational use and things like that. So if you donate a piece of land for soccer fields or playgrounds or things like that, could be educational as well. So if you donate something for education, you can get some nice tax credits there. Not a lot of people own land to donate for that kind of purpose, so we don't have to go deep into that, but just know it's there. And then the last thing I'll say is that, like a lot of other states in New England, they have a lot of credits related to like historic rehabilitation or keeping up historic landmarks. So if you're in an area where you have you might have a building or office or a piece of real estate where you have kept up that piece of property or done something to keep it from falling apart and things like that. I mean, let's just say it's historic preservation, and if you think you're doing anything in the area of preserving a landmark or a building or something that is historic, old, you need to look at some of these credits because they have a lot of different types of credits in there for that historic rehabilitation, and or just in general, like keeping historic landmarks and real estate sort of up so that they're not falling apart and stuff like that. I mean, it's to basically preserve and conserve the history, right, of these tangible things. You're going to want to look at that to see if it's something that you might qualify for. And then also they do have some opportunity zones where they have like they call them like neighborhood assistance tax incentives. So they have certain areas where if you come in and do something positive with real estate in that area, that you can get some tax credits for that type of thing. So, I would say all in all, Connecticut has some of the run-of-the-mill stuff. It's cool that they have an angel investor tax credit because that's it's not rare, but it's not in a majority of states. So if you're up there and investing in things, it's pretty cool. If you put $25,000 or more in, take a look at it. See if you have a qualifying startup that you're investing in. If you're starting a business there, make yourself a qualifying startup so you can offer the angel investor tax credit to other people, right? So think of this both ways. You can offer people an opportunity to earn these credits while they're helping your business, right? So if you know about this stuff, you can use it in various ways to help yourself, not just tax credits, but getting other people on board with your business to help you with your business and getting them understanding the tax credits that they could get by doing whatever they're doing, okay? Film credits, R&D credits, things like that, a lot of things that kind of piggyback on the federal credits. Historic stuff, again, to sum it up, historic stuff, job creation type credits, again, opportunity zone, like areas that are kind of low, lower on the economic kind of metrics and things that could use some help getting built up again. There's some stuff in that area. and lots of stuff in manufacturing and sort of industrial property. So, but they're small, they're kind of nichey, and you kind of have to read more about that. But if you're in heavy machinery equipment, if you're in the industrial area, you're gonna want to look in here and see if there's something that you might qualify for. I don't think it's that complicated. It's just beyond the scope of this video. And again, if you are in plastics or like distribution or plastics manufacturing, Connecticut has some tax credits specifically targeted to that area. So I don't see that in a lot of states. I don't see that in a lot of states or federal, period. So they're really trying to push that in Connecticut, something you might want to take a look at. Or if you're thinking about going into business in that area, Connecticut might be a great state for you to do that in. Okay? And that's the last thing I'll say is just kind of a thought to kind of wrap this up is some of these states, they have such niche credits and they have such huge advantages for certain industries and certain types of companies that's why you would, when you look at what state you might want to do business in or what states you might want to have a nexus in, look at their tax incentives, because some states, states are different, and some states are going to be a lot better for you depending on what kind of business that you're in, especially if you're in manufacturing or distribution. Okay, manufacturing and distribution are widely recognized by states, and a lot of politicians push tax incentives to those two areas. Okay, especially on the coast, especially where there's ports and there's a lot of shipping activity going on. Okay, so if you're in that kind of business, you might want to take a second look at the state you're operating in and start looking at some of these other states to see if some of these tax incentives just completely blow you out of the water and are things that make you even think about moving. Okay, that's all for Connecticut. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to our next video. And the sixth state that was admitted to the union, actually took them a month to do this because it's been about a week in between so far. Was another month was Massachusetts. So more New England states coming, so we'll see what's going on in Massachusetts when we talk about Massachusetts tax credits tomorrow. All right, thanks, and have a great night. Bye-bye.